All right, so I know we covered Pythagorean theorem in the first couple days of class, but since we're going to be doing the converse of the Pythagorean theorem, I feel like we ought to at least review it. A few of you are still struggling with it. So just as a reminder, the Pythagorean theorem works for right triangles and it allows you to find a missing side. So Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared, where c is the hypotenuse. So when I look at the picture, we know that the box points to your c part, so this is the hypotenuse up here. And then the other two sides are your legs, so it really doesn't matter which order you put the A and the B in. So if I look at some examples, again, the box points to your C number, so it doesn't matter if I use the 8 first or the 15 first, as long as the C is on the other side of the equal sign. So I usually try to put the smaller number first. So I would have 8 squared plus 15 squared equals x squared. 8 times 8 is 64. 15 times 15 is 225, and that's supposed to give me x squared. When I add those two numbers together, we get 289. And then the final step is to take the square root of both of those. So you end up with x equals 17. Okay, on the next one, again, the box points to your C. So we're going to have x squared plus 15 squared equals 20 squared. Again, the C has to go on the other side of the equal sign, and it doesn't matter if I put the x first or the 15 first, but they go on the same side of the equal sign. So x squared plus 225 equals 400. Subtract 225 from both sides, we get x squared equals 175, and then square root it. Now I'm going to round to the tenths place, so x equals 13.2. So it's not always equals x. Sometimes it'll equal a number. So again, we're going to follow the arrow, or follow the box that points to your C term. So this is going to be 8 squared plus 12 squared equals c squared. So 64 plus 144 equals c squared. Add those together, we get 208 equals c squared. Square root the 208, and I end up with c equals 14.4 if I round to the hundredths place. Okay, last one of the review problems. The box points to c, so that's going to tell me x squared plus 24 squared equals 25 squared. Again, it doesn't matter if I put x squared plus 24 squared or if I put 24 squared plus x squared. It doesn't matter what order you put those two numbers in. So x squared plus 576 equals 625. Subtract 576 from both sides, you get x squared equals 49. Square root, we get x equals 7. All right, so that's the lesson we've already covered. Now we're going to cover the converse of that. So converse basically flips it over. So Pythagorean theorem says if it's a right triangle, then a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So the converse of that is going to reverse that. It's going to say if a squared plus b squared equals c squared, then it is a right triangle. All right, so if a squared plus b squared equals c squared, and c is the longest side or the biggest number, then we have a right triangle. So I made a little chart for you to help you. So if they're equal, right here, then it's a right triangle. Now, if c squared is the bigger part, then that makes this triangle obtuse. And then if c squared is the smaller part, we're dealing with a triangle that is acute. So we're going to use that same concept when I look at example 2. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to figure out which number is bigger. So 27, 36, or 45. 45 is the bigger one. That's going to be your C number. And then I'm just going to test it. Is 27 squared plus 36 squared equal to 45 squared? Well, we end up with 27 times 27 is 729. 36 squared is 1296. And 45 squared is 2025. Okay, when I add the two numbers together, I get 2025. Is that equal to 2025? Yes. So this is a right triangle. All right, looking at the next one. Again, the first thing you do is pick the biggest number. That's going to be your C. Doesn't matter what order you put the other two numbers. Just matters that the C number is by itself. 33 squared is 1089. 56 squared is 3136. 65 squared is 4225. Add my two numbers together, I get 4225 equals 4225. So those are equal, so this is a right triangle. All right, last one of those. Again, the first thing we're going to do is figure out which number is the C. The 16 is the biggest number. So 8 squared plus 10 squared equals 16 squared. So we get 64 plus 100 equals 256. When I add the two numbers together, I get 164 equals 256, which we know is wrong. So what happens essentially is that c squared is the bigger part, so it's stretched out. That's going to make this triangle obtuse. So it's going to make this triangle obtuse. So this is an obtuse triangle. All right. All right, the last topic we have to discuss is what does it take to be a triangle? So basically, when you add two sides of a right triangle together, they should be larger than the third side. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to add two sides of the triangle together and see if it's bigger than the third side, and then we're going to do it again. So basically, we're going to check the first two, check the last two, and then check the first and the last. So looking at that first example, I'm going to check the first two, 28 plus 40. I get 68. Is that bigger than 48? Yes, it is. All right, now try the last two. So 40 plus 48, that gives me 88. Is that bigger than 28? Yes, it is. First and last, 28 plus 48, that gives you a total of 76. Is that bigger than 40? Yes, so this is a triangle. All right, so we're going to put this is a triangle. And now we have to figure out what kind of triangle it is. So the biggest number is 48. So we're going to have 28 squared plus 40 squared. Is that equal to 48 squared? Well, we don't know. That's what we're finding out. 784 plus 1600. Is that equal to 2304? Well, when I add those two numbers together, I get 2384. Is that equal to 2304? No. The c squared is the smaller part, so that makes this triangle acute. All right, looking at the next one. Again, we're going to test it first. So 16 plus 30 is 46. Is that bigger than 34? Yes, it is. Last two, 30 plus 34, we get 64. Is that bigger than 16? Yep. Now the first one and the last one. So 16 plus 34 gives me a total of 50. Is that bigger than 30? Yes, ma'am. So now we're going to figure out what kind of triangle it is. The 34 will be your C number. So you're going to have 16 squared plus 30 squared equals 34 squared. So we get 256 plus 900. Is that equal to 1156? When I add those together, I do get 1156 equals 1156. So this is right. So this is a right triangle. All right, last one. So again, we're going to take the first two numbers, 8 plus 13, and we get 21. Is that bigger than 22? No, it is not. This is not a triangle. So not a triangle. So we don't have to go any further if it's not a triangle. That's as far as we're going to go. All right, so now you have a Google form to fill out. So it's going to have a few Pythagorean Theorem questions and then a few of these converse questions. So make sure you pay attention to what it's asking you to do. If you have any questions, go ahead and reach out, and good luck.